Hey everybody, this is your bass man. I want you to join me at a rock and roll revival.
When those oldies play, we listen. Makes us start a reminiscing.
Each time I walk you home, each time we're all alone, can't seem to find the words to say. Just gotta let you know how much I love you so. Tonight I think I know the way. I'm gonna put on some rock and roll music. Put on some rock and roll music. I'm gonna put on some rock and roll music and play it soft and low. Put on some rock and roll music. I love you so. Tomorrow is too late. I just can't hesitate. My heart tells me tonight's the night. So when I take you home, and when we're all alone, I'm gonna kiss and hold you tight. And then I'll put on some rock and roll music. Put on some rock and roll music. I'm gonna put on some rock and roll music and play it soft and low. Put on some rock and roll music. So I'm gonna put on some rock and roll music and play it soft and low. Put on some rock and roll song will let you know. Put on some rock and roll music and play it soft and low. Put on some rock and roll music. So I'm gonna put on some rock and roll music.
Turn on that radio and back here. cops ain't likely to catch up with us, not tonight. So we can all be quiet and peaceable and listen to the music.
I'm so young and you're so old. This, my darling, I've been told. I don't care just what they say, 'cause forever I will pray. You and I will be as free as the birds up in the trees. Oh, please stay by me, Diana. Thrills I get when you hold me close. Oh, my darling, you're the most. I love you, but you love me. Oh, Diana, can't you see? I love you with all my heart, and I hope we will never part. Oh, please stay with me, Diana. Oh, my darling, oh, my lover, tell me that there is no other. I love you with my heart. Oh, 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 only you can take my heart. Only you can tear it apart. When you hold me in your loving arms, I can feel you giving all your charms. Hold me, darling, oh, hold me tight. Squeeze me, baby, with all your might. Oh, please stay by me, Diana. Oh, please, Diana. Oh, please, Diana.
Boy meets girl, they fall in love underneath the stars above. Ankle bracelet, wedding ring, all the gifts that true love brings. Shoot-up, 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 whoa. Shoot-up, shoot-up.
Boy meets girl, they fall in love.
When a boy meets a girl,
They date a while and fall in love.
oh, they gaze up at the sky above,
They know for sure that they're in love.
and they wish that night would never end. That's the feeling deep within.
Underneath the stars above, ankle bracelet, wedding ring, all the gifts that true love brings. Shoot-up, 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 whoa. Shoot-up, shoot-up.
Boy meets girl, they fall in love.
And the feeling grew inside of him.
Gives her his high school pin.
So he takes it to the senior
They
prom.
walk together on and on.
Now the ankle bracelet's next in line. Can the wedding be far behind?
Underneath the stars above, ankle bracelet, wedding ring, all the gifts that true love brings.
Now a year has passed. He asked for her hand. She's his for eternity. With a ring as a token of our love, a
my friend.
Well, he loves to kiss and he loves to coo. You find yourself melting when his eyes on you. When he says he loves you and he says it's a fact, don't believe him, honey, 'cause his line's an actor. That's a Johnny. Oh, that's Johnny. Let me tell you about Johnny. Say that he loves to tell you you're my girl. Leaves your heart spinning in a whirl. Then he'll break up saying that's the end. And then he'll ask you,
Why ain't you my friend?
well, he loves to kiss and he loves to coo. You find yourself melting when his eyes on you. When he says he loves you and he says it's a fact, don't believe him, honey, 'cause his line's an actor. That's a Johnny. Oh, that's Johnny. Let me tell you about Johnny. Oh, that's Johnny. Let me tell you about Johnny. Oh, that's Johnny. Let me tell you about Johnny.
Call 911! Call 911! Call 911!
The number you have reached, 911, has been changed to a non-published number.
Hello, 911 emergency. There's a handsome guy in my house. Oh, wait a second, cancel that. It's only me.
Nights didn't seem so long no more. Pain wasn't there like it was before. Just when I thought I was really okay, I saw Linda yesterday. My heart went up, down, like a merry-go-round and round, like a falling star down, down. Oh, looked like I'd found peace of mind. Looked like I was gonna make it this time. Just when I thought I was really okay, I saw Linda yesterday. Oh, she smiled that same old smile. My heart was running wild. My love for her increases as I go all to pieces. Say, hey, dum-dee-do-dee-do-dee, hip, hip, dum-dee-do-dee-do-dee, hip, hip, dum-dee-do-dee-do, dum-diddly-dum-diddly-dum-dum-dum. So drink to a lonely guy, sit around and watch me cry. People ask what's wrong, I say I saw Linda yesterday. My heart went up, down, like a merry-go-round and round, like a falling star down, down. Oh, dum-diddly-dum-diddly-dum-dum-dum-dum, hip, hip, dum-dee-do-dee-do-dee, hip, hip, dum-dee-do-dee-do-dee, hip, hip, dum-dee-do-dee-do-dee, dum-diddly-dum-diddly-dum-dum-dum-dum, hip, hip, dum-dee-do-dee-do-dee, hip, hip, dum-dee-do-dee-do-dee.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? Are you ready for Doo-Wop Dave on Oldies Central Network? He's spinning the best of the rarities and the hits from the 50s and 60s on Live 365.
Hey, Oldies lovers. This isn't the Oldies Central Network, and this isn't Live 365, but I am Doo-Wop Dave. I'd like to welcome you to my latest pet project here on YouTube, on my Patreon page. And it's kind of the pilot program for a project that's been swimming in my head for years and never had the time to do it, and very time-consuming project. And it's kind of a consolidation of all the things I've been doing for over 30 years, or almost 30 years, rather. Be 30 years next year that I've been online, whether it be jukebox websites. I had a couple radio show stations that I operated. Been on YouTube now since I think 2007. And now getting the Patreon page, so doing a lot of different projects, and this is just kind of a consolidation of everything that I've ever done. we're gonna give it a shot, and this is kind of like similar to the after school records videos I put out in the after school doo-wops and stuff like that. So it's along those lines, but you know, the main difference being is I'm gonna come in and chime on all the sets that I play on the show and stuff like that. And you know, my first thought was I'd do a show that would be 8 sets long, but I got 8 audio tracks now laid out and ready to go. I got 4 of them where I've got the videos completed, and the more I'm thinking about it, the more I think I'm just gonna limit it to 2 sets a show, and because I said I got over 50 hours just in what I've done so far on this, and I haven't even gotten a show up yet, and that's so. This is kind of like a pilot. It'll probably run 2 sets, and then I'll just, you know, keep building on from there. And like I say, the sets are kind of like way back in the 90s when I had my radio, or my websites, the jukeboxes. I used to create these files that I called 6-packs. It'd be 6 songs, 1 file, and I'd throw that up instead of, you know, it kind of made things a little easier than having 6 individual songs to load up. I could just put them as one, load it, and let it go. And so that's where the set of 6 kind of comes in. And, you know, they usually run around 15 minutes or so that's pretty cool. And so I think I'll do like 2 sets. And, you know, after the first set and then after the second set, I'll come in and I'll just kind of go back over the songs that were in the set. You know, any comments, share a couple stories about the songs, you know, and, you know, have some fun with it. And so, I think by way of an introduction today, I wanted to share with you the story of how I became Doo-Wop Dave, where I obtained the nickname. So I got to go back to 1986 to my girlfriend at the time, my wife now. We had just, in March of 86, my son was born. And at the time, I was working in a factory, I was working very long hours. I was working, 40 hours Monday through Friday, and then on Saturday and Sunday I'd go in and work 12-hour shifts as their material handler, and I would do that, you know, for weeks at a time, and it's like just working 7 days a week constantly, looking at the calendar and saying, well, I'm going to take this weekend off. You know, it's just, it got too much and it wore me out, and I'd come home and I'd be cranky from lack of sleep and working all the time and not being able to do anything. And so I didn't want to do that, and so finally I just left that job behind. I went back to a service station job I had. And then in the fall of 86, my brother, a couple of buddies of mine, we decided to enroll in a technical college, take up tool and die to try and learn a trade. And well, you know, because we got enrolled late, we didn't get any actual shop experience or any classes for hands-on, so we got like, you know, industrial math, industrial, you know, the science behind it all and stuff, and, you know. Well, my brother eventually, he got a job at a machine shop, and then he said, well, they're hiring, you want to come and try it out? So I go try it out, and it was at this job that, you know, I started, and that's where I cut my teeth on running machines. And I told my girlfriend at the time, was my wife now, told her, well, you know, if I get through the 60-day probationary period and things look like it's going to be a steady job, then, you know, call the preacher and we'll get married. I'll make an honest woman of you. And so sure enough, the 60 days went by, I had my review. They were really happy. And the boss said, he gave me a nice raise. And then he said, I got one question to ask you. I go, what? He goes, how do you feel about going on to the night shift? And I'm like, I'm all for it because, I've been a night guy my whole life. And so, the nice thing about going on nights was we could listen to our radios, and I was stuck in we called it chucker roll because it was all a line of old chuckers that we were doing the machining. There was only 2 guys back on the whole row. Me and an older guy named Larry, who was 40s, probably in his 40s. I was like 23. And one night I'm sitting there and I'm playing some of my custom tapes on my boombox, and Larry looks at me and he just starts laughing. I go, what? And he goes, DooWop Dave. I go, what? He goes, DooWop Dave. I'm going to call you DooWop Dave. Because I'm playing all this doo-wop stuff. It's like, that's got a nice ring to it. I like that. And so, thanks to Larry, I got dubbed DooWop Dave, and that's the name I used when I got on AOL back in like 94. I used it as my email. I've had that as my email address ever since. And then when I started all my jukebox sites, I started in 96, ran all of them, and everything was DooWop Dave, and then my radio stations, my YouTube channels, everything. So that's who I've been known as online. And it's funny how life goes around in circles because 2017 I started a job at nights in another machine shop, and again, I was working nights so we could listen to our radios. Of course, I'm listening to my doo-wops and stuff. And the guy that's running the machine next to me, the little Italian guy that looked like the Pillsbury Doughboy, one night, I look and him and the plant or the foreman are sitting there looking at me and they're laughing. I'm kind of like, what's up? And then Mark, his name was, he comes over to me and we're talking, and he's asking about the music and stuff like that. And I started telling him about my website, my YouTube channel, all of that stuff. Well, yeah, just look me up on Google, I'm DooWop Dave. All of a sudden he busts out laughing. And I go, what's so funny? And he says, me and Frank were just talking about all you new guys that just started. He says, and I just told Frank, and we're looking over at and I go, we got DooWop Dave over there. So he comes up with the exact same name. He never heard of, my channel, didn't know me as DooWop Dave or not. So, it's just kind of funny. This guy, started out in the machine shop, and then the guy over there. So, just a funny story. But that's how I got the name DooWop Dave, and that's what I've been using ever since for all my endeavors. And I just thought that was a funny story I'd share with you. So, incidentally, yeah, 2 months after I got my 60-day review, my wife had me down at the courthouse. We got married. We've been happily ever since. It's been, going to be 39 years come January. So, my kids, they're grown. They're married, they got their kids of their own, and so anyways, just wanted to throw that in by way of introduction. And then now looking back on the sets that I started off with rock and roll music, Jerry Keller, which was part of the Lords of Flatbush soundtrack. In my opinion, that was the best original soundtrack ever. I think Barry DeVorzon wrote that one. I may be wrong. I know he did one movie that's on the top of my head. And then the reason I threw the Dell Vikings, Whispering Bells, and Paul Anka's Diana together is because, I came up, I was getting exposed to the music of the 50s and the 70s, so this stuff was old. And I'd never heard this stuff before. And my first introduction to it was on a radio program, or during the weekends on a radio station here. They had what they called $1 Million Weekends, and where they played the music of the 50s and 60s and that. And so the first time I heard the Whispering Bells, and right after it was Diana, and both of the songs just blew me away. You know, and I didn't realize they were such massive hits at the time. And back then, as I'm learning all of this music, because it was all new to me, I couldn't tell you what was a hit back then and what wasn't, because I just didn't know. I'm absorbing all of this music that I'm coming in contact with, you know, for the first time. And so that's why I, you know, when it comes to the rare, obscure stuff, that's, to me, just like everyday stuff. But it's, you know, people look at you when they hear you playing, and what the hell you listen to? Well, you know, that's how I discovered it. And then, so that's why I throw those two together, because they're very, very, you know, Whispering Bells was like a major gateway for introducing me to doo-wop, and then Diana to just the teen sound of the 50s, and just two great songs. And so I always seem to put those two songs together because I heard them at the same time, and they both just, wow, mind blowers. For the Capris, Boy Meets Girl, that came off their 1982 Ambient Sound record that they cut, which also, where they produced their revival doo-wop hit, Morse Code of Love, or Baby Come Back, however, you know. And we got lucky back in 2010. We had a doo-wop show come through town, and the Capris were on it. And Nick Santa Maria, the lead singer of the Capris, when he got up on stage, he said this was his first trip to Milwaukee. He said it's going to be his last, and then he relayed how he had lung cancer and all of that. And, you know, he didn't look good. He looked sick and frail at the time, you know, but man, he gave it his all on There's a Moon Out Tonight, and the crowd just gave him a well-deserved and lengthy standing ovation. And then, it couldn't have been 3 months later, he passed away. You know, so it's just like, man, I was so blessed to see him for the only trip they ever made to Milwaukee, and I got to see him. He, you know, to me, he was always one of the most underrated lead singers in the business. Never getting the credit I thought he deserved. And in 1982, on that album, I just think they were in their prime. That album was just pure gold. So I threw that on. Back in the day, me and some of my collector friends and my buddy Wayne, when he was still alive, we'd get together about 3 or 4 times a year, and we would, you know, they would bring their 45s, we'd bring ours, and they would let, you know, I'd make them CDs of stuff I had and stuff like that, and then they would let us record, and we were using mini disc players at the time, and we were recording their 45s to mini discs, and then I'd take the mini disc and run it into the computer and get it online so I could use it. And so Dodie Stevens, let me tell you about Johnny's, kind of, you know, not real popular. It's not even, I got a Dodie Stevens CD and it didn't make the cut. But that was one of her records. I really liked it a lot, and so I thought I'd throw that out there for you. So that's not my actual 45, that was from hers. And then, of course, you got Dickie Lee. I saw Linda yesterday, big hit for him. Follow up to Patches. And I always like to do the Dion sound influence to the record. And so I thought I'd throw that in. And so that's just kind of a rundown of the list. And some of the stories behind some of the songs and why they're in there. And so I'll wrap this little intro up and get ready to work on the second set, getting that ready to go, and I'll stop back after that, and we'll call that a wrap then. So I'll see you after set 2.
Hey, baby, you know I really like the discotheque, but you ought to live around my neck. And I think the monkey jerk and fruit, but I'm never dancing close to you. So if I had one wish, it would be to have you do the fish with me. Cause every new dance that they play seems to take you further away. Desire. So put your arms around me, baby, and let's dance close like we used to do. Let me say, baby, I love you. Let's dance close, turn the lights down low. Then I'll say what you wanna know. It's so great to have you back here in my arms once again, where you belong. I missed your cheek last night. Everything's right now, and nothing is wrong. So let's dance close. Let's dance close like we used to do. Whisper in my ear, darling, I love you. I want to stay right here in your arms, now and always. Let's dance close. Let's dance close. To spend one night with you in our old rendezvous. Sherry, I love you so. That's my desire. Whoa, to hear you whisper low, just when it's time to go. Sherry, I love you so. That's my desire. To sip a little glass of wine, I'll gaze into your eyes divine, to feel the warmth of your lips pressing on mine. Whoa, to spend one night with you in our old rendezvous. Sherry, I love you so. That's my desire. Sherry, Sherry, whoa, desire, desire, whoa, desire. Watch out! Hey! the still of the night, as I gaze from my window at the moon in its flight, my thoughts all stray to you. In the still of the night, while the world is in slumber, oh, the times without number, darling, when I say to you, do you love me as I love you? Are you my life to be, my dreams come true, or will this dream of mine fade out of sight like the moon growing dim on the rim of the hill, in the chill still of the night, still of the night.
portion of the show is being brought to you by Ed's Almost Good Beer. Remember, Ed's Almost Good Beer was brewed in God's country when God wasn't looking.
Welcome back. And that was my set 2. I slowed things up a little bit, doing things a little different yet. I didn't like all the feedback from the mic on the laptop with the cam, so I put on my headphones and hopefully it sounds better. And yeah, the more I'm thinking, I don't know, maybe I'll go to a 4 set, because at least with this mic I don't have to feel like I'm shouting to be heard. So, and it sounded much clearer than the other video. So anyways, so that was my second set. You know, I wanted to slow things up a little bit, and so we kicked it off with Jimmy Curtis, who I've got this on CDs as well. And according to the CDs, was backed up by the Regents on this record out of 1965. So it was a great hit for 1965, or a great song. And then I went into my guys, Dion and the Belmonts. What can I say? You know, I first, believe it or not, the first time I heard Teenager in Love, it was by Sha Na Na, who I got a credit for just opening my mind and that, and really exposing. They were my main gateway to the music of the 50s. And songs like, you know, Teenager in Love, I first heard by Sha Na Na on their pilot television show back in '77. And it's like, well, and then one day I'm sitting and watching TV with my dad. I think we were watching a Johnny Weissmuller Tarzan movie, which we loved. And they had a commercial, and it was for a Dion and the Belmonts album. And I'm sitting and listening to all these clips. And I'm like, whoa. You know, so I ran, and I saw on the clips them singing Teenager in Love. And I go, okay, they're the originals of it. So I rushed out, bought the album. It was called Everything You Wanted to Hear by Dion and the Belmonts, but We're Afraid to Ask, or something like that. And so on one side of the album was like 11 or so songs that Dion did with the Belmonts, and then the other side was 11 songs that he did, you know, after he left the Belmonts and stuff like that. And man, it just, from the moment I played that album, I was hooked on Dion and the Belmonts, and they've been my, you know, he's been my favorite singer, and the Belmonts one of my favorite backup groups, or actually they were a stand-up group on their own. Got to see them come down probably 30 years ago. They came down to Italian Fest. And it's kind of funny because, you know, me and my buddy Wayne's down there. I got my son Danny, who's now a young teenager at the time. And we're watching the show, and we're really getting into it. And they're singing, you know, Tell Me Why, and Searching for a New Love, and all of the Belmonts songs. And, you know, everybody in the crowd was just digging it, but they asked, how many of you guys recognize these songs? And the only hands that went up were ours. And I had went there, and I had a extended play EP record on the Sabina label with a picture sleeve. And I took a couple of my Dion and the Belmont, or a couple of my Belmont CDs down there with me, and after the show we got to sit back for, I don't know, it must have been at least an hour, and visit with them, you know. And it was Freddie Milano, Warren Gratis, and I think it was Jim Elliott was the lead at the time, and there were the three of them. And yeah, we sat there for about an hour just shooting the breeze and stuff like that. Great guys, had a ball. Actually had Freddie Milano and Warren Gratis were arguing about that EP I was telling you about, because Warren was saying it was a bootleg, and Freddie was arguing with him and telling him, no, we put that out, you know. And so these two are going back and forth and arguing and stuff like that, and it's kind of funny to watch. I think Freddie was just being a nice guy, and I think Warren was telling the truth. I think it was a bootleg, but it didn't matter to me. I just, you know, one of them records I had to have when I saw it, and I got it, and they signed it, and that was cool. So great time down there. Great bunch of guys, man. Sorry that Warren, left us. They're all three gone now. Freddie several years ago, and then Warren Gratis just recently, and Jim Elliott a couple years ago. So it's just a bummer, but man, what a blessing to see these guys in person. And then, I did the Twin Spin. I always loved their version of In the Still of the Night. So I had to have a Twin Spin in there. Threw that in there. Okay, the next two, Never Ever Say Goodbye by the Spidels and Memory of Love by Linda and the Epics are two, again, of Susie's 45s that she had. I wish I had them. They're on my hit list, but I haven't come across them yet. Really rare stuff. And so I thank Susie for letting me record them, adding them to my collection. On Memories of Love, I think I went ahead and remastered that for CDs that I put out on my Patreon page for paid subscribers to be able to download and stuff, and it's still up there. But I remastered all the songs because that's another part of my hobby. Another story goes with that. So, but two great tunes. I hope to find them, and I hope some of you guys never heard those and you like them. And then the last one was the Lancers, who were out of Pennsylvania, and the story behind this one, I don't have the 45 of that. Another one I'd like to get. But a guy, probably 4 or 5 years ago, he asked me if I had this, what the hell's the name of the song here? Sherry My Love by Jerry Atkins and his Rockin' Obsidians. I was like, I never heard the song, but I'll look for it and see if I can find it, because, if so, I'll put it on my website, or on my YouTube channel. And so I went out searching, looking for the song, because he said it was a really good song, so I wanted to hear it. And I found it on this CD. I don't know if you could see it. It's called Rockabilly, or Rockin', PA, or Roxville, PA. And it's put out on Expat Records. And it had the song on it, so I bought the CD. It's a double CD, and it's got a bunch of stuff off of the Highmar record label out of Pennsylvania. And there's just some great stuff on here. Highly recommend it. And that track's by a group that they recorded the song under the name The Lancers, but they went on to become known as the Royal Lancers, and they're different. We had a Royal Lancers group up here in Milwaukee that did backup work on some of Paul Steffen's and some of the other local artists and stuff. So they did backup for them, and I think they had a couple releases as well. So that's where this came from, and it's got, just about, 12 songs by the Lancers, and great stuff, and just a ton of stuff, and I'll be, putting a lot of that stuff in these shows, and that's what these shows are good for, because, unlike my 45 collection playlists that I got on my channel, those are my 45s, I'm sharing them, with you guys. Yeah, everything the label scans, that's all my stuff. But when I do these shows and stuff like that, I just go to my CD collection. I go to the stuff I got from my collector friends over the years and stuff like that. And so that's what I like about it. And again, another thing I like about the format is I could play, the hits and stuff, that the popular stuff that a lot of, your casual oldies listener who only wants to hear the stuff that they're familiar with. So I'm trying to strike a balance so that there's something that everybody can enjoy. And of course, it's not all about the music. I'm a totally nut about the nostalgia of the whole era, the 50s era. And of course, I try to make my videos so they're entertaining. They give you something to visually entertain you while you're listening to the music and stuff. And, I enjoy it all, and that's what I like doing, and I hope you guys enjoy it. And, I want to plug here my Patreon page, and I'll plug it for a couple reasons. First of all, nobody has to pay anything to become a member of the Patreon page. Enjoy for free. And some of the benefits of that is you get email notifications whenever I make a post. And that's so you can get your email, you just open it right there, in your email browser, and it'll play. Second of all, you don't get any of the ads. Now, I could monetize my videos on YouTube. I did in the past before they shut me down and I had to start over, but I could. But I don't want to do that because, we got enough ads not being monetized, and for those of us who don't pay the fee to have YouTube TV, we're stuck with the ads and stuff like that, and it kind of sucks to go, you want to watch a video of a 3-minute song and you got to sit through a minute of commercials before they let you skip them, and so, so I just made the decision, well, I'm not going to go ahead and monetize YouTube, but with Patreon, it's another benefit is you get to watch the videos. You don't have to put up with any of the ads. That's cool. That's worth joining and becoming a member just for that. And then, because on Patreon, it's a product. I have to create product that I can sell, and that's how I got to generate some revenue because they get a percentage of the sales, and that's how they allow me to have the Patreon page. And Patreon page, I'm still learning it all and that, but it's just a much nicer setup than even you coming on YouTube and going through the channel. I mean, I got, just about everything I got is loaded on YouTube, but I'm building up the library that I got over there, and I can make stuff for those who get a paid subscription. I'm trying to come up with exclusive content for you guys so that you guys have access to stuff, as my thank you to you for joining and supporting the work I do and help me out. And like I said, I have to create the product in order to sell, to generate some money, for them to justify letting me use their platform. And so with that, if you haven't joined, I just would invite you to go subscribe to my Patreon channel, DooWopDave's World on Patreon. Subscribe. If you don't want to be bothered with the emails, because I do post a lot, and some people don't want 10 songs in their mailbox every day, and so that's how I kind of roll. I get a bunch of songs made, then I upload them to YouTube, and then I send them over to Patreon and stuff, Patreon page, and then now I'm on TikTok, and I really like it over there, but only about 70% of the stuff that I create and I load up over there gets past their copyrights, and so they end up muting it. So on TikTok, because the people over there, they are extremely responsive, and I get a lot of feedback and a lot of followers, and it's crazy with TikTok. I love it. And but the whole world is coming together. I'm getting stuff set up. There's things I can do on my Patreon page. I can set up, like group chats if anybody wants to get together. Set up chats where we can sit in video conference and chat back and forth. I got the ability to do that there, so I got to look into it, find out what the logistics and stuff are, but that could be a lot of fun. And I'm just trying to grow a really cool community for other people that like the music, that like the whole nostalgia of the era. I mean, when I think, you hear everybody talking about making America great again. Well, when I talk about or think about America being great, it's like going back to this time period. America really was great. America was putting out stuff that, entertainment that the whole world, loved. I mean, I just witnessed how, in Europe and Japan and all these, when I had my radio station, I could get the listeners and their geographical locations around the whole world, and I was just amazed at how many people outside of the United States. I had more listeners out of the United States than in the United States. So, this music, the culture, I mean, a huge greaser and oldies culture in Europe and in England and even in Japan, and so when you talk about making America great, that's what I'm talking about. And trying to do my part to kind of revive that, in the music I play and the videos I share. And, I hope you guys enjoy it. So, hey, I'd appreciate you guys just giving me a thumbs up if you liked the video. Share your comments on what you thought of the show. I'm thinking I'll probably do, in the future, there's probably going to be sets of 4 because, I want to get more music in there. But, and once I figure out the talking and all of this stuff, because I'm not a professional speaker in that, and I don't write no scripts, and I couldn't keep one if I read it. So, anyways, if you enjoyed the show, give me a like up, share with your friends. Please share your comments, and with that, I'm going to wrap up this one so I can get this loaded, and then I'll be working, and then maybe tomorrow I'll have a couple more and get to work on the other ones. So I hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll catch you next time. But I'm going to leave you with a little comedy, because I got a great sense of humor, and a little comedy clip that I used to play on my radio station, and it's a kind of a parody on Cats in the Cradle. And I wanted to forewarn any Asian friends, this is a joke, it's a parody. Don't, it's not a bash on your culture or anything like that. So, but it's talking about, it's a parody about Chinese food and stuff like that. And it's funnier now, and I think you guys will really enjoy it, get a kick out of it. So I'm going to leave you guys with that. And I'll catch you guys on the next show. Hope you enjoyed. Good night.
Did you ever think when you eat Chinese, it ain't pork or chicken but a fat Siamese? Yet the food tastes great so you don't complain. But that's not chicken in your chicken chow mein. Seems to me I ordered sweet and sour pork, but Garfield's on my fork. He's purring here on my fork. There's a cat in the kettle at the Peking Moon, the place that I eat every day at noon. They can feed you cat and you'll never know. Once they wrap it up in dough, boys, they fry it real crisp in dough. Shaolin asked if I wanted more as he was dialing up his buddy at the old pet store. I said, not today, I lost my appetite. There's 2 cats in my belly and they want to fight. I was sucking on a Roll-8 and a Tums or 2 when I swear I heard it new, boys. And that is when I knew. There's a cat in the kettle at the Peking Moon. I think I gotta stop eating there at noon. They say that it's beef or fish or pork, but it's purring there on my fork. There's a hairball on my fork.